What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 40. Explosive Mayhem. Sunday. Day 119. It had just gone past midnight and all members of Team JPDE were fast asleep, except for one. Deku was still awake, and he had just closed his eyes when his scroll lit up. He grabbed his scroll and saw that he had received a message from Thriller. Music, dancing, and alcohol. Secret entrance to those who knows the key, Thriller texted. Deku started at the message, not understanding what it meant. Music, dancing, and alcohol. What do those three things have in common? Wait, they all are in A. And a secret entrance unlocked by a key. The only key we have is the Deku said. Deku then got out of bed, being careful to not wake up a passed out Evelyn sleeping on top of him. Deku got dressed and quietly left the dorm room through the window. Using Black Whip, Deku swung through Beacon and into Vale. Deku then soon arrived at Junior's. "Alright Thriller. What do you have?" Deku asked. Deku entered the club. He saw Thriller up on a balcony. They looked at each other and the Thriller walked off. Deku then went up to the VIP room. He saw Thriller sitting down. "So, what do you have to tell me?" Deku asked. "I'll start by telling you what Weather thought about what you told us," Thriller said. "A few weeks ago." "Multiple auras, you say?" Weather asked. "Yes. When I was fighting him and the boob monster, I could feel 4 auras in his body," Bella said. "Are you sure you're not misremembering things?" "Dude did take quite a fall," Weather said. "I'm positive. I hadn't been thrown out the window by the boob monster by that time," Bella said. Thriller Weather asked. "I believe Bella is telling the truth." "Bella would never lie to me," Thriller said. Please keep an eye on Izuku in the future." "Now as promised," Weather said. Back to the present. "Do you know why Weather wants you to keep an eye on me?" Deku asked. "I have no idea, but I definitely involves the boss. And speaking of plans, there's something planned for you in Peak," Thriller said. "And what would that be?" Deku asked. "That information will come at a cost," Thriller said. "Then what's your price?" Deku asked. "How many auras do you have?" Bella said she could feel 4 strong auras, but she said she could feel something more, Thriller said. "Well, Bella is right. I have unlocked 4 auras," Deku said. "Unlocked?" Thriller asked. "Let's just say that my semblance is much older than myself," Deku said. "So it's a hereditary semblance," Thriller said. "Something like that," Deku said. "Wait. Does that mean you have multiple semblances?" Thriller asked. "Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe you will be able to piece it together." "Now what's going to happen at Peak?" Deku asked. "You are progressing too fast into Peak. Weather and Bella are going to be there to slow you down," Thriller said. "Only Weather and Bella?" Deku asked. "Me and Howard are to meet with a group much like us," Thriller said. "I think I know who you're going to meet," Deku said. "Small world," Thriller said. "Indeed it is. Now we should depart before anyone notices either of us aren't there," Deku said. "I agree. Thanks for helping us," Thriller said. "I'll help anyone in need at any time. Just give me a call," Deku said. "I will, when the time comes," Thriller said. The two left the club. Deku went back to Beacon, while Thriller went back to the safe house. A few hours later, Team JPDE plus Titania and Professor Peach were in Peak, ready to make further progress. "Well, students. I think it's only fair we dedicate this toast to the good doctor," Peach said. "To the good doctor," then David said. "To the good doctor," the others said. They then drank the doctor's solution to prevent the boss from controlling them. "Bawa. Gods, this is disgusting," Jack said. I figured it'd taste less than optimal," Penny said. "Hua. It's like there's a party in my mouth," Titania said. "And everybody's vomiting," Evelyn said. "I might have forgotten the taste sampling." this is atrocious, Peach said. I'm starting to think maybe the good doctor chose death instead of running out of time. Yoch, David said. This is definitely the worst thing I have ingested now, Deku said. What else have you been eating, Titania asked. Jack's pancakes, Deku said. Jack said. Anyway. We are now immune to pyrobidian corruption. Our objective today is finding the route to the mining district, isn't it, Peach asked. Sure. Once I can taste again. Oh, man, Jack said. After recovering from the awful taste of the solution, they continued on. Once again. All damage to the city has been repaired, David said. The Janera giveth, the Janera taketh away, Evelyn said. Just to be sure. You two aren't going to actually try and pet her if we run in row her again, are you, Jack asked. You mean we can't, David asked. But her head demands it, Evelyn said. Oh my gods, you two are serious, Jack said. Heh, alright, we do know she's dangerous. But now that Amber learned how to control Pyrobsidian, we can shut her down easily, no, David said. Also, having to fight her and her monsters over and over again can get tiring after a while. I say we try and persuade her to stand down, Evelyn said. With head pats, Jack asked. Nah. That's what we want in return, David said. We promise to not destroy the city. In exchange we get all the head pats we can give, Evelyn said. Guys. First, that's stupid. Second, after the trashing we gave her the last time, I doubt she's going to show up or stay in one place long enough for us to parley with her, Jack said. Evelyn and David frowned. Oh gods, you'll stop being sad about it, Jack yelled. But David said. Head pats, Evelyn said. Okay. I'm leaving before I break something, Jack said. Jack then left. Her face, David whispered. I know, right? How long do you want to keep this up, Evelyn asked. Until she swings by again. It should be any minute now, David said. You two have something planned, don't you, Deku said. What do you mean, David asked. All we want is to give her head pats, Evelyn said. Sure, keep telling yourselves that. I'm on to you two, Deku said. Over by the lake. There seems to be a gate to the north similar to the one that led us into the market. Beyond that. I think that's the mining quarters you're looking for, Amber said. The map I extrapolated would seem to indicate so. What we need to look for, now, is the opening mechanism. It's not near the door itself, Penny said. I see, Amber said. Amber, I was wondering. If it's not too private, Penny said. What is it, Amber asked. What is it that you would like to do, Penny asked. I beg your pardon, Amber asked. Well. We've been discussing ways to help you. We've been looking for clues as to what happened to you. We managed to find the clues as to the whereabouts of your actual body. I was just wondering if it's what you yourself wanted to do, Penny said. I can't understand. She's here, Amber said. You mean, Penny said. Janera then came before them. Miss Janera, correct. Are you here to fight again, Penny asked. Again, Janera said. I'm sorry, Penny asked. I've come to bargain, okay, Janera said. The team then gathered around. So. I guess we can start from introductions, Penny said. I already know all of your names, Janera said. There are certain conventions to parleying, young miss. First one is trying to be as cordial as possible, Peach said. Fine. But you go first, Janera said. Sure. I'm Penny Polendina. This is Professor Peach, Penny said. First name Violet, Peach said. This is Jack B. Ivory, my team leader, Penny said. Nice to meet you without a metal entourage, Jack said. This is my partner, Evelyn Damerot, Penny said. Hey there. I love your hair, Evelyn said. This is our friend Titania, also Professor Peach's daughter, Penny said. Still haven't forgotten you tried to rip me apart, Titania said. And this is David Dik Begis, he's one of Jack's partner, Penny said. Nice to meet you too, Janara, David said. Last, but definitely not least, is Izuku Midoriya, also known as Deku, and is Jack's and David's second partner, Penny said. Hello there, Deku said. I'm Amber, Amber said. No. Shoo. I've already told you to stay away, Janara said. Your turn, then. Is it just Janara? Evelyn asked. My name is Janara, yes. But your introductions are incomplete, Janara said. In what way? Penny asked. All I've learned are your names. You haven't told me what you are and what you are here for, Janara said. Well, the latter is a long story. As for the what, we're a group of students and a teacher from the Hunter Academy of Beacon, Jack said. A Hunter Academy? Janara asked. Also. Well, I'm a former business heiress with a sister who swapped bodies with someone else, Jack said. How? Janara said. Survived an encounter with a body-snatching Grim and now I want to kill my cousin, Evelyn said. You what? Janara asked. Mad scientist, Peach said. Gender-bending metal blob, Titania said. Gynoid, Penny said. Ghost, Amber said. I'm only 4 months old and was born from a rock, David said. Stop making fun of me. You think I'd believe all of that? Janara asked. We're not, Deku said. Then what's your story? Janara asked. I'm a human from another planet that has a genetic superpower called a quirk. My quirk is one that was passed down to me, and now it's my duty to become the symbol of peace. I am also unlocking the quirks of the past users. I was transported here by a fragment of an entity called the Flame that resides in David, Deku said. What? Janara asked. I'm technically an alien, Deku said. Did I just hear that right? Peach asked. Yes, you did, and all your questions will be answered at a later date. Anyway, we all have some kind of reason to be here in Peak, exploring, Jack said. Exploring? So that's what you're here for? Janara asked. Yes. We're actually trying to reach the mines. That's our ultimate goal, Jack said. The mines? Why would ever want to go in there? Janara asked. Any reason we shouldn't? That's kind of the only lead we have, David said. They feel off. I've never gone there. In fact, I've completely sealed the mining quarter from the rest of the city. The only entrance is through the gate, Janara said. Which reminds me, how did you even come to be the caretaker of this city? Evelyn asked. I don't really know how to answer that. My first memories are of waking up in here. It was empty, left to ruin, and with this icky field in place. Then I found I could control the metal in it, so I fixed it. Because I had this notion that if I took care of this city and kept intruders out, I could keep it, Janara said. That's one fancy dollhouse, Titania said. So that's why you've been fighting so hard? Because you fear what would happen if you can't hold up your end, Peach asked. This city is all I have. And I was doing a pretty good job. More people came here before you, but they never managed to come in. Also some weird black and white creatures swing by every now and then. They're not affected by the field, for some reason, Janara said. Weird black? You don't know what Grim are? Deku asked. Is that what they are called? Then no, I don't, Janara said. Well, anyway, I think we have the perfect solution to this conundrum, Penny said. And that would be? Janara asked. Just invite us in, Penny said. Invite you? Janara asked. Right now we've come in on our own. So, we are intruders, Evelyn said. I was born here, though. Does that count? Titania asked. But if you invite us in, we become your guests. So there's no reason for you to try and keep us out anymore, Jack said. And you promise not to damage the city? Janara asked. Hunter's honor. Well, Student David said. As long as you open up the mining quarters for us, we'll have no reason to. Peach said. We have a deal then. I will open the gate right now and send you on your way. But I'm not letting you to. Pat my head, Janara said. Oh gods, I had almost forgotten about that, Jack said. Hey, I'm cool, David said. You're a cute kid, but not interested, Evelyn said. Well. Good, Janara said. Okay, that's it. Come with me, Jack yelled. Jack then took David and Evelyn away. I knew they had something planned, Deku said. What kind of plan is that, Titania asked. Probably to make it look like they didn't see Janara as a threat, Deku said. What, Janara said. Enough about that. You're telling me you're from a different planet, Peach asked, getting very up close with Deku. Yes, Deku said. Oh my gods, Mr. Midoriya, you've just given me a science orgasm, Peach said. Please don't, Deku said. What's the planet like? What kind of civilization is there? How many species are there, Peach said, continuing to bombard Deku with a load of questions. Meanwhile. Start talking, Jack said. Well. We had noticed that we were pretty much being observed all the time, David said. She could see and hear us. Anyway, after last time she was pretty angry, no, Evelyn said. There was a good chance she could have doubled down instead of being level-headed about the whole situation, David said. Your point being, Jack asked. What better way to make someone not look for direct confrontation, Evelyn said. Than to make it seem like you do not take them seriously at all, David said. How did you even catch on his plan with just a look, Jack asked. I had younger siblings and cousins, remember? There's nothing kids hate more than being treated like kids, at a certain age, Evelyn said. Your increasing affinity fills me with equal parts dread and apprehension. Is this like a side effect of your semblance, partner, Jack asked. Who knows, David and Evelyn said. Or, don't be a stick in the mud. It was effective, wasn't it, Weza said. Weza, David said. David, Weza said. Bella, Evelyn said. Boobs, Bella said. You've got a lot of nerve, Jack said. Not exactly. I just have the utmost confidence you won't be able to lay a hand on me, Weza said. I beg to differ. Want me to slug you in the face and restart your memory, David said. Want me to dislocate another shoulder, Weza asked. You said we weren't here to hurt anyone, Bella said. How, Evelyn said. Despite your insistence, I might add, Weza said. That was. Anyway, it's fine now, Bella said. That's it, keep being a buffoon. Do you hear a sound of footsteps? We've got 5 more people here and there's just 2 of you, Jack said. Indeed, that'd be some good exercise. But as I said, we're not here to fight anyone. But you've been moving forward a bit too quickly. So it's time for a proverbial wrench in the works. Bella, Weza said. Bella then started to blow up Peak. What the hell are you doing, David asked. Cutting off your only way of access to the mines, David. In a blaze of red and melodious mayhem, Weza said. You crazy? Isn't this your boss's property, Jack asked. Indeed, Jacqueline. And the fact that he gave carte blanche to do with it as we wish should tell you everything you need to know, Weza said. The others had heard the explosion. Deku was the first to react, quickly running to the source, quickly followed by Penny and Titania. Stop. Destroying my city, Janara yelled. Janara then followed after Deku and Penny. Janara, wait, Amber said. Weza, we should leave now, Bella said. Oh, not quite yet, Bella. Still a couple of things to take care of, Weza said. What, Bella? Weza, Deku yelled. Speaking of which, Weza said. Deku was charging towards Weza. Weza then whistled, throwing of Deku's movements. He then used Deku's momentum against him and threw him back with a tremendous force, crashing into Penny and Titania. Best to take care of the other thing first, Weza said. Weza then quickly moved in front of Janara. Not much reason for all of this destruction if you just fix everything overnight, Weza said. Weza the hit Janara, sending her flying back. Janara, Deku yelled. Deku pushed off with 100% to catch Janara. He managed to catch her, and used Black Whip to slow down, though the still crashed into a building with a tremendous force. Indeed. Her body is much more resilient than a human's. Like a Grimm's. But still nothing compared to a human body reinforced by aura. And speaking of aura, I wonder how much abuse you can take with those 4 aura pools you have, Weza said. You fucking monster. She's just a little girl, Deku said. Who tried to kill you on more than one occasion, Weza said. Shut it. She's on our side, now, Deku said. That thing isn't able to have been on anyone's side. She's just a toy, Weza said. Penny and Evelyn had now come and stood between Weza and Deku. She's definitely more human than you are, Evelyn said. Weza, enough, Bella yelled. I'm coming. I got a bit carried away, I guess. It's just been a while since I hit something defenseless. Forgot how soft they can be. But first, let me finish the other thing. That's quite a lot of dust you have. Would be a shame if one became unstable, Weza said. Weza then cracked a dust crystal and threw it down. Let the experiment begin, Weza said. Weza and Bella quickly left. Get back, Deku yelled. Deku then used Black Whip to push Janara into Penny's arms, and to push Penny and Evelyn away, before using Black Whip as a shield to protect them. There was then a huge explosion which destroyed a large area of Peak. Black Whip dissipated, allowing Evelyn and Penny to see the carnage. They saw Deku, still conscious, his auras flickering. He's not a monster. He's a demon, Deku said, before his aura gave out and he fell unconscious. Ijuku, Evelyn yelled. Everyone. Janara's vitals are not good, Penny said. What about Ijuku's? Jack asked. His vitals are stable for now, he has suffered some burns and bones damage, but he's in no immediate danger, Penny said. Holy. Arms are not supposed to bend that way, Titania said. With just one hit, Jack said. Janara may possess magic, but she doesn't have an active aura field. She's no more defended against physical attack than your average Ursa. Thank the gods Ijuku had several active aura fields. He would be a goner otherwise, Amber said. We've got to get them both to the clinic, David said. She's losing. Her physiology is different. Titania, David, give me a hand with Janara. Be careful. The rest of you take care of Ijuku, Peach said. The group then took Janara and Deku to the clinic. Once they arrived, Jack set to work patching up Ijuku, while the others worried about Janara. She looks so fragile, Evelyn said. She's in a very bad condition. My old students didn't hold back at all, Peach said. If she ain't got no active aura, can't we jumpstart it like we did Titania? Let it heal her injuries, David suggested. Her injuries are too severe for the rate at which aura heals wounds, Penny said. Also, her physiology is very different, according to Penny's scans. She may have more in common with Grimm than just colors. Using aura may actually worsen the situation. But that's a moot point. She needs surgery, Peach said. Surgery? Here, David asked. The equipment is old but clean and working. We got plenty of tools and supplies, but without know how her body works we're pretty much going in blind, Peach said. No, we're not, Evelyn said. Evelyn, Penny said. I can take care of that, tell you if what you're doing is wrong or not. Adjust your aim, Evelyn said. Miss Damarot, that's mean keeping up your semblance through the entire surgery. It could take hours. The mental stress, Peach said. I can handle it. I've handled way worse, Evelyn said. Still, I doubt you have enough aura, Peach said. Well, Evelyn said. Don't worry about that. She will, David said. It could work, Peach said. Penny will keep an eye on her vitals, Evelyn can guide us through the surgery, and I can supply the aura, David said. We should have someone as your main battery, and you'll tap into your own reserves just in case. Miss Ivory, how's it going? Peach asked. I'm almost done. But I'm going to go on guard duty. Use Titania instead, Jack said. Very well. Let's start preparing, Peach. The only thing I'm worried about is her blood, I guess. I doubt we have any plasma, and I don't think any human one wouldn't send her into shock, Penny said. That's where my semblance comes in. Do not fret, blood loss is the last of our worries. Now let's go prepare. We don't have much time, Peach said. Meanwhile, in Vale. Sorry for the delay. First time coming to this part of town, so it took a while to get our bearings, Howard said. And yet you're the one who chose this place, Cinder said. Not me, my boss, Howard said. So you're what? The messenger, Cinder asked. Girl over there's restless, HM. Look at her tapping her foot, Mercury said. Second in command really, Howard said. That's not good enough, Cinder said. I'm sure it'd be good enough for Ozpin, Howard said. Don't do anything stupid, Thiller said. Are you threatening me? Cinder asked. Are you disrespecting me? Howard asked. What is it you want? Cinder asked. To collaborate and make sure that we can both achieve our objectives. Or we can get in each other's way. Choice is yours, Howard said. Collaborate, you say? Then start by telling me how you know that name, Cinder said. My boss's boss has had dealings with her, Howard said. And he's still alive to tell the tale? Cinder asked. Sort of, Howard said. It had been several hours since the surgery begun on Janara. I'm 99% sure we did it. Good job, everybody, Penny said. Oh good, I feel empty, Titania said. That's aura exhaustion. Don't move too fast until the dizziness subsides, Titania. I have to commend you on your mental fortitude, Miss Damarot. We avoided more than one close call thanks to you, Peach said. Evelyn didn't respond. Miss Damarot, Peach asked. Evelyn was staring off into the distance with a crazed look. Evelyn. Evelyn, David called. What? Evelyn said. Are you alright? You were standing completely still, David said. Oh, I'm fine. It's just, I've never observed a person for this long before. It was pretty intense, Evelyn said. It was. You should go relax. Me and Miss Polendina are enough, now, Peach said. Leave it to us. Janara is stable and I've collected enough data about her body to make a working algorithm for these machines, Penny said. I will. Thanks, Professor Peach, Evelyn said. Think I'll go lay down, then David said. And I'll go tell Jack we're finished. Need a hand getting on a cot, David, Penny asked. I'm not that cooked. Go help Titania, David said. Screw you, Titania said. No thanks. Some of us are trying to sleep, Deku said. Izuku, you're awake. How are you feeling? Penny asked, running up to him. Like I've been in a huge dust explosion. But honestly, I just feel tired, Deku said. You also feeling aura exhaustion, huh? Titania said. Speaking of aura. Amber mentioned several aura fields, Peach said. That's a long story. For another time. I'll answer any questions you may have, Deku said. Very well. I look forward to it, Peach said. Hey, Izuku, Penny said. Yes, Penny, Deku asked. Can I stay with you tonight? Penny asked. Of course you can. Just close the curtains first, Deku said. That That's not what I meant. You need your rest, Penny said. Welp. I'm not going to rest anytime soon, Titania said. You want to go rest somewhere else, David asked. Yes please, Titania said. David then took Titania out of the room. Just don't go for too long or hard. You could set back his recovery, Peach said. Professor Penny said. Professor Peach then closed the curtains around Janara's cot. Come on then, climb up and we'll go to bed, Deku said. You weren't making a joke, right? Penny asked sheepishly. You don't mind doing all the work though, Deku asked. Not at all, Penny said. You don't need to hold back. Go all out, Deku said. Penny then closed the curtains and then stripped to her plug suit. She then climbed onto the cot and started kissing Deku. The room was soon filled with the noises of a loud squeaking cot and skin slapping together. Meanwhile, Evelyn had just left the medical ward. She then fell down due to an intensive pain. This Evelyn said. Meanwhile, at the safe house. Oi! What's gotten into you all of a sudden? That tickles, Andrea said. What? What is this? Why am I seeing this? Evelyn asked. End of chapter 40.